back, everyone, to a brand new broadcast of Throw Like a Girl Radio. I'm Alyssa Paolicelli.
And I'm KaraAnne and Galante.
Today is Thursday, April 14th. On my way in this morning, I was counting how many shows we have left, and I think there's only 3.
No!
I know. It depends on whether or not we get the studios open for finals week, so stay posted for that. But as you know, Thursdays from 1 to 2 is the time to tune in and listen to WBCR's first all-female sports talk show. If you're listening to us, you are doing so in a number of different ways. You're either streaming off of mywbcr.com or downloading the TuneIn Radio app and searching Brooklyn College Radio. If you're missing us this week live, you can always just wait for our episode to be up on our podcast on iTunes or YouTube. As always, thank you in advance for listening to us. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you aren't doing so already, or if you are and you want to tell everyone else you know, follow us on social media accounts, facebook.com/ThrowLikeAGirlRadio, Twitter @ThrowLikeAnders_girl. You can tweet us throughout the show with your questions, your thoughts, anything. And you can find us on Instagram, ThrowLikeAGirlRadio. If you want to email us and ask for a podcast of your own, or even just shoot us some suggestions, our email is throwlikeagirlradio@gmail.com.
I like that, Alyssa. You just added that little thing into there.
Bit.
Well, I'm not going to sing it this time, but it is the most wonderful time of the year for hockey fans because it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. Woo!
Not as excited as I would have been had the Rangers won last night. But
I know, but right now we're a little angry, but we'll talk about that. You're right. The unpredictable Stanley Cup playoffs have begun. The MLB is in full swing, and controversy is at an all-time high around the leagues we love. As usual. Okay, it's all right. Plus, the weather's getting nicer. It's 60 degrees out today. Woohoo! All right, as they say, April showers do bring May flowers, so we'll see what goes on.
It was all rainy last week.
I know. That's why I added that little tidbit in the script, because it was pouring at Citi Field this whole week. We have a great show for you today, and if you would like to take part in the greatness, call in to chime in. 718-951-4444.
Ooh, I like that.
I know, I like that. That's really nice.
Call in to chime in.
Again, the number is 718-951-4444. 4444 is the number to call. Give me your opinions. Tell me what you want to hear. And yeah, that's it. So we're going to start off the show, right?
Yep.
With our Woman of the Week.
And this week, our Woman of the Week is Megan Rapinoe. Rapinoe, sorry. She's an American professional soccer player. She's a midfielder for the Seattle Reign Football Club and the National Women's Soccer League. And as you know, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, the women's U.S. national team, soccer team, football team, is filed a wage discrepancy against the U.S. Soccer Federation. And the reason why she's our Woman of the Week this week is because on Tuesday, April 12th, it was Equal Pay Day, and she spoke as a keynote speaker at the Glassdoor Roundtable. Actually, Hillary Clinton was the keynote speaker, but she brought Megan in to speak on behalf of the equal wage fight. So it was the 11th annual Glassdoor Roundtable, and like I said, she was the woman to highlight. And the U.S. in the U.S., the woman earns as this is the most updated stat, 77 cents to every dollar a man makes, and that's
just in general.
That's in general, but women of color and of minority races earn much less than that. But she said something that was really cool that I liked, and she said, but just taking action now, using your voice, standing up, and just not accepting something you know in your heart and you know in your gut to be unequal. So, I just thought it was a really cool quote that she said that, and it's not, like, the women's national team is kind of running with this and making it a bigger issue than just sports. They're kind of speaking on it on behalf of, like, all women all over the world, which I really like and I think is awesome. And sometimes you need the celebrity, even though these women aren't as much a celebrity.
Yeah, because I never really heard of Megan Rapinoe until now, until we featured her as Woman of the Week.
I believe she's one of the first openly gay
she is.
Soccer players to have come out and play for the national team, which is also awesome. But each player on the U.S. women's national teams earns $99,000 per year as long as the team wins 20 friendlies, which is those like matchups that don't actually mean anything.
Yeah, they're just exhibition games, basically.
Each men's player would earn over $263,000 for the same feat and would still earn $100,000 even if they all lost all 20 of those friendly games. So the women get no extra pay for playing in more matches, while the men earn anywhere between $5,000 and $17,000 for each additional match that they play in.
Yeah.
The men have won no World Cups, the closest they have ever come to finishing in the World Cup tournament is in 1930. They finished in 3rd place. This is 1930 when there probably wasn't even a women's team to begin with.
Yeah, this was like, what, 80 years ago?
And the women's team have won World Cups in 91, 99, and 15. And we all know, like, Mia Hamm and all them.
Yeah, that really brought women's soccer into the media aspect, and it brought people's attention to it. It's just, the pay discrepancy is huge, as you could tell, as Alyssa was pointing out. And even the World Cup bonuses per player, like, if the men were to win the World Cup or even to be in 3rd place, they would get a bonus of $52,000 compared to the women who would make $20,000. If the women were to make 2nd place,
is that with the U.S. Soccer Federation or is that with FIFA?
I think it's with Soccer Federation.
Because that's the thing, like, that's the issue that's they're trying to address here. Like, this is the U.S. Soccer Federation. The FIFA is an international tournament. That's a whole other different argument. It's a whole other different
that's like more that's international. That's more FIFA's so more international. This is more domestic.
This is like the biggest issue because we're talking about the United States Federation of Soccer Play that has Title IX, that has the Equal Pay Act, that has all of these things that go into place to prevent this type of discrepancy from occurring.
Yeah.
Yet it's being kind of like institutionalized within the U.S. Soccer Federation with what they do.
Yeah, and the big difference I think with women and men is like women are under these contracts. I want to say that's why they're making that $17,000. Yeah, they're like the correct collective bargaining agreement. That's why they're making this steady payment of $72,000. With men, it's more broad.
And the thing is, if you ask the lawyer that is on this case, the CBA should not have even been negotiated like that because that's illegal in itself. You should not be negotiating a contract for a lesser value because that in itself is illegal, regardless if they agree to it or not. Yeah, because they did agree to the collective bargaining agreement that does grant them the pay that they earn, which is less than the men's. But constitutionally speaking, the way this is being interpreted by the law firm that is representing the women's national team, it is illegal to even have that conversation with the contract terms being lower than that of the men.
Yeah, so since it's illegal, I don't think there should be a problem with fixing that, and there shouldn't be this whole
it seems
controversy
really simple, but
surrounding it.
It never is.
If something is illegal, something should be changed. That's basically it. That should be the end of it. There shouldn't be this whole controversy and surrounding this whole topic of just this pay discrepancy. Just fix the problem and let's just move on with it, because if not, the women will boycott playing in the Olympics this summer. And we're not going to have a USA team unless we just choose people who, I don't know, they're not less than amateurs to be a part of this. And then USA women's soccer is not going to be as dominant as it usually is.
And I think she's something really important at this Glassdoor round. Was it Glassdoor or Glass? Yeah, Glassdoor roundtable. She said, there is, quote, there is a kind of argument of being twice as good all the time. But you want to be good enough just the way you are. And we are very good the way we are, which is so important, I think, to just like women in sports in general and women in all professional industries where men are where the industry is male dominant, because there's this stigma of being I have to be twice as good in order to be just as considered the same as my male counterpart. Yeah. But she makes a good point by saying you want to be good enough just the way you are.
Just the way you are. You don't have to be compared. Yeah, there shouldn't be any comparison. I know it's the same sport, but there shouldn't be comparison with male and female because we're biologically made different. Hello, have you guys noticed that? So there shouldn't be this argument about how we're the same as men. We're obviously different.
But we're different, but that doesn't mean that we're worse.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that we have to always live up to what our male counterpart is doing.
The product is still good. I just think that this is really important just because you are a woman, you don't have to be twice as good as a woman. You could just be good, and that should be enough.
Yeah, it should be. No, it should be, and we'll see where this goes. Because this is going to
be
a big story. It's going to be. I think it's going to be ongoing to the point where the last minute at the Olympics, when they're about to go to Rio over the summer,
which is when the talks will heat up, and
it'll heat up, and this is going to be like the last minute decision on what the national team is going to go.
Then that's going to. I think they did this at perfect timing too, because of the Olympics impending and coming up. And it's going to receive even more national attention on that level. And you want the U.S. to be represented as best as they can in the Olympics, and the Olympic Committee is going to get involved in all of that. So there's going to be a lot of different parties expecting the involvement from the U.S. women's national team. So I think it's a great timing. Obviously, strategic timing. Nothing goes unnoticed with that.
No, it's not. And I feel like, as it gets closer, it's going to pick up.
Yeah,
basically.
Agreed.
And right now it's very slow, and then it's going to get really heated, and it's going to be a big storyline coming in the next couple of months. So we're going to switch gears to the NFL because they're always never in the news,
they're always
right?
relevant.
They're always relevant, even though it's off season and the draft is upcoming. And Alyssa, you found this article.
I did, which I thought was really interesting. So the title of the article is "Using Data to Predict Arrest Rates of NFL Draft Picks," and I thought it basically explains that there has been a research team put together that has come together to evaluate off-field performance by college athletes and projecting that their off-field performance, meaning running with the law, arrest, things of that nature.
Just their personal life.
Exactly. And projecting how that will transfer over when they are selected in the NFL. The biggest thing I had of this is there's putting, you know how many problems we have in this world that we could use like really diligent researchers. Yeah,
we got to choose if the NFL is going to choose
and we put our resources and our monetary value into something like this.
Drafting what a person could do.
Hey,
you're predicting the future.
If you have a problem with someone doing something off the field, how about you just not draft them? And then that is what it is.
Yeah, they're predicting the likelihood of this NFL draftee, what would happen after he becomes drafted into the NFL.
And it's also very subjective research because anything can happen to anyone at any given time in their life. So
no, it can't. They're predicting the future. I wish I could have this data to predict where I'm going in the future. Can you give it to me too? Like, they're just predicting like the player who had a lot of personal life complications in college and before being drafted to the NFL, they're most likely to have those problems being drafted and being part of an NFL team. They're 2 times more likely to do it. And that's basically the bottom line here with this article. Do we really need statistics behind that to even judge like when they're going to do it, how they're going to do it, all this stuff? I don't think we need that.
I don't think so either because because the monetary risk of doing that for like an NFL owner or a GM wouldn't seem worth it to me. But nonetheless, there's still the research is being done. So some of the results, they found 2 independent results from this study.
Yeah, two results out of how many?
I guess there are 2 conclusions, I guess, not so much results. But 2001 and 2012, from 2001 to 2012, players with publicly documented pre-draft arrests were nearly twice as likely to be arrested after reaching the NFL than those who had not been arrested. I mean, that's also kind of common sense.
I know, that is common sense. I could predict that too.
The second result they found is a small but clear correlation between arrest and Wonderlic test scores. Yeah. That was what the test they were giving out before.
Yeah, it's just to judge their intelligence.
I think that was their constant during their research.
Yeah.
So players who scored below the mean in the researchers' sample were also about twice as likely to be arrested in the NFL as those who scored above it. So I thought that was a really interesting find because there was a...
Yeah, but those are confidential test results. They shouldn't be released to the public.
But there's no names attached to them, so technically they can.
So then how would you know?
Well... You don't. It's just the research they're doing. I don't think they have like a specific case studies on specific athletes.
Because if you want to judge someone before you draft them, you would obviously put their name attached to the test.
Right.
Right?
But I just think that there was I have to find the quote exactly where it is. I think that one of the most important things that were said, it was by Louis Riddick, who's now an ESPN analyst, and he worked with the Redskins, I believe, and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, he did.
Was it player development he was involved in, or was it more of
like?
He might have been some type of like psychology because there was a lot of psychologists that worked on this study.
Yeah, I think he was a sports psychologist.
He said whether it's through 3 cone tests, shuttle drills, or anything else, they assume that these guys have it figured out. But once you get them, once figured out, once you get them, and they don't. That's where the focus should be, helping them be better people and better players, rather than hiring a psychologist to tell you your players are more or less likely to get arrested. I agree with that. I think that the NFL's focus is significantly off here because regardless, there's that monetary risk. That is why that's even why there's putting this focus on this.
Yeah, because if you pay them the contract,
exactly. These owners, these GMs, these franchises want to make sure that they're putting their money in a place that's going to bring them revenue. So I guess it is worth it to them as a business model to invest in this type of research. Yeah. But this point by Louis Riddick is very important because it's talking about how the NFL doesn't focus on. It's like, the whole like life after prison thing. Like there's no programs to help people transition from the life to prison to like back to the real world.
Yeah.
I mean, not that this is. I mean, it's actually a kind of an ironic comparison that I just made, but there's no development programs that help these guys transition from being college athletes and then being these potential superstars and being in, this limelight under this strict regimen and focusing on making them better people. It's not there. And maybe that's something that the NFL should address.
The NFL is not going to, the NFL is not going to do that, because we've been bringing this topic up even on the show multiple times, that the NFL should start making these programs and developing these things for these prospective NFL players. And I know it's all money business and all that stuff, but sometimes you can't teach a person common sense. It's natural. Right. It's natural. And I don't know, just predicting the future is something you can't do, and this is what they're trying to do, and I don't know. And it's obvious if someone has trouble in their personal lives in college, and plus you got to think these kids are young, and they do a lot of stupid things in college. And I've noticed that this article doesn't refer to allegedly sexual assault. They refer to drug possession charges, or they refer to marijuana.
Because I think that's a whole different study that would have to be conducted in and of itself.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that study. That's what I was saying. They're not focusing. The real problem, that's true. But the real problem is alleged sexual or being accused of sexual assault in college, and nobody's focusing on that. They're focusing on the stupid things that kids do in college. Like, kids do get arrested for underage drinking. They do get arrested for drug possession sometimes. It's a common thing that happens because kids are trying to find themselves. But when it comes to a point of physically hurting another human being, that's something that's totally different. And I think that football and the NFL should focus on that too, 'cause that's a much bigger problem instead of these little stupid minute things that are happening. I read in the article, a defensive lineman of Ole Miss, Robert Nikendich, I want to say, he has a history. He fell off a hotel balcony.
Yeah, he had
drunk,
marijuana,
and he had marijuana
charges,
possession, and he was drunk and he fell off a hotel balcony. But that's like a college story that you tell your kids,
right? But that's a college story
that happened.
It's still, but okay, that's fine. That could be a college story. But if me or you were applying to a job and that's on our record, we don't get hired for a job, but you can potentially still get hired for. You could
have a potential of making millions of dollars, but I'm just saying, I think this problem is not as big as, you gotta look at the bigger picture here. They're looking at these small little things that these prospective NFL draftees are doing, but not as big as what's really going on.
When I was talking about the test results, the second conclusion that they read saying that the people who scored below the mean average on that test were more likely to get arrested, there was this interesting quote from Hoffman. He is I believe a professor at one of the universities that were on this study. He said, more generally, we find a relationship outside the NFL between intelligence and arrest as well. Intelligence is associated with impulsivity and foresight to extrapolate the implications. Those who have more intelligence have more self-control and are more cognizant of the consequences of actions and more likely to abstain. I'm not sure what's going on in the NFL with NFL players, but many of the crimes we see there are linked to impulsivity rather than premeditation. If you get mad and punch someone, in that context, this has some relevance. So it's talking about how, I think I've always thought this personally, to play football, you have to have a certain type of mindset, which is what prompts this this drive to, I got to hit somebody really hard. I have to make sure they go down, that type of thing. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's something that I think should be considered. And I think there was an interesting quote about the whole intelligence mark. And I think this is something that the NFL should take responsibility for. Again, step up, do what's right. And
yeah, but they're not going to.
You're right, because there's no money value.
They're going to invest millions of dollars in this data to make sure they don't screw up and that their image isn't bad, instead of helping these players who really need that help in the future. And they're going to be part of members of society too. You know what's going to happen after the NFL? They're going to be part of society. So investing billions or millions of dollars into this useless program is not going to help the NFL. It's just going to be these statistics aren't reliable too, so there's no point in
like I said, they're very, very subjective.
It's just making it easier for even the teams, because the teams do these intense interviews and background checks before they draft their player. It just gives them less pressure to do that and more time focusing on the team instead of prospective draftees, which what are you gonna do, right?
I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting that there's being money associated with
who
this
thinks?
type of
I want to know
research.
who's behind this. Who thinks of this?
And it's almost creating a new metric for draft prospects, which is really interesting, because football is one of those sports. It's not like hockey. It's not like baseball. All these advanced metrics. Football is very far behind as far as advanced stats goes.
Yeah.
So this is
the Corsi stats in
so
hockey that nobody needs.
Is very interesting. An interesting approach to evaluating prospects, and I just thought it was interesting and worth talking about.
It is worth talking about, and nobody's talking about it besides us, so that's why you should listen into our show. Hey! So if you guys want to call in, the number is 718-951-4444. Okay, we're going to switch gears now to our woman to watch this week. And this woman, her name is Val Ackerman, and she's actually the Big East commissioner, and she's really known in the basketball world. Was the first president of the WNBA from 1996 to 2005, and the first woman president of USA Basketball. She oversaw the men's and women's Olympic teams, which I thought was awesome. And she also played overseas too, professional basketball as well. So she's really known in the basketball realm, and she became the first president of the WNBA. Before that, she was actually like David Stern's assistant. Like she was a part of the whole NBA basketball operations too, which was pretty cool. And she brought to light certain things with a quote she made. She appeared on
Maggie Gray.
Yeah, with Maggie Gray. And she's talking about how college athletes might get a chance to actually make money for the use of their names.
So the exact quote was, it's exactly a time right now where student athletes' interests are being closely examined. I don't have the answer for you on that one day, but I will say that and a number of other topics are being under reviewed, and I think rightly by the NCAA it is very possible that over the course of the next year or two that these ideas work their way through the legislative through the legislative. So their idea that college athletes can receive compensation for endorsements is what
she was
asked about.
Yeah, because my belief is personally, I don't think college athletes should be paid for playing basketball, but I feel like if you're selling a jersey with their name on it or using their name for endorsement, they should receive some type of compensation, because I don't want people using my name and I'm not receiving anything for it. Like, if it's going to be for the school's benefit, but I want it to be for my benefit too. I'm the one who's representing your school.
This is also in the wake of the NCAA facing a lawsuit brought on by former UCLA star Ed O'Bannon regarding the legality of their ability to restrict student athletes from generating revenue via the issue of their name. So I think that I'm always very torn on this whole should you pay student athletes and whatnot, because
they get a free college ride.
but also there's a lot that goes into that, because a lot of the time that they're getting a free ride, but they're also the classes they are attending, and this is mainly concerning because women's college teams do not get the same type of treatment as men's.
No, obviously.
So
you tell.
A lot of the time, we played that John Oliver clip from a couple semesters ago when he talks about the NCAA. They're getting education that are watered down, that are being morphed over by the school.
But I think that's for the big schools,
though. But then these kids get out of college and they're not going to the professional league.
Yeah.
They're pretty much, in lack of better term, screwed, because they have no degree that's actually worth anything.
Yeah. No, I think it's for like the top 3 schools though. I don't think it's for every D1 school.
No, you're right.
Because there's so many schools out there.
So much money, but that doesn't. Regardless of that, a school is making millions of dollars off of your name or your team. If they're selling your stuff specifically, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think they should be in trouble for like signing things, because you go down south, forget it.
I know, because that's their professional team. Right. The college teams are their professional leagues. And I think you're right. If you're selling someone's image and likeness, I feel like the person who's a part of that image and likeness should get compensated for it. And I like how Val Ackerman is finally bringing that to light too.
I think it's just something like she's our woman to watch, because this is something that will unfold in the future, regardless of either way.
I'm gonna see the criticism behind it and the supporters for it, and I think it's just a story that's only developing. And just to bring up the current rule is that student athletes may not be paid for the use of their image or likeness, or they could forfeit their amateur status, and collegiate eligibility could be affected. So that's a lot.
Yeah, so it's basically saying
your life is ruined, basically.
You can either not get compensated for the use of your name, or you can give up your collegiate status and potentially ruin any chance of you ever becoming a professional athlete.
So either way, it's a lose-lose. Yeah, that's it. Either way, you're done. And your scholarship's going to be taken away. You're not going to be educated anymore. And forget about maybe finding another college.
Like the NFL, the NCAA seems to like skeet by. I don't know if skeet's a word. But skeet by with all these horrible things that they do, and it's because everyone turns the other cheek, because it's like, oh, it's still fun to go to these games, and like
I think CBS just paid like $1.1 billion to air the NCAA tournament for the rest couple of years. Like, they made a contract So that is a lot of money, CBS.
Crazy.
And I don't know. I got caught up.
It's a lot of money, but
too.
obviously when they're projecting that estimate or they're making that offer, the revenue that they bring in is probably ginormously.
Probably triple that.
Right, exactly.
Triple that.
That's what I always think about when I hear these contracts. I'm like, the amount of money that these companies are making off of making this deal is insanely uncomparable.
No, it is. It's insane. It's insane.
If you think that's a lot of money,
whoa,
I don't
CBS.
even know how much money is coming in with like ad revenue and all that. But
I'm just saying, CBS. If there are any job openings, you have $1.1 billion. I don't think I would make a big dent in it. Just want to bring that up a little bit. We'll just see what happens with the story and we'll see where it goes with college athletes. This might change things drastically.
Yeah, because I think if this rule change does come to be, there's gonna be a domino effect of like other things that all the grievances that college athletes have with the NCAA and their strict rules on that stuff is all gonna change.
No, it's gonna change.
It'll be interesting.
So the tournament might change too in the end.
It'll be very interesting.
I know. I'm excited to see what happens. Well, we're gonna take a break. We just finished our Woman of the Week, our Woman to Watch, and our Article of the Week. But now we're gonna hear comments from Elaine Vignault after that. Oh my God! Excruciating 5-2 loss against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I think he's here with our staff. I saw him in between the second and the third, so I'm assuming he's still here. I don't have anything more to tell you than what I just have here, so it's the best I can do for today. I should know more tomorrow.
What did you see happen on their shorthanded goal? Like, what was the miscommunication there that ended up with Yandel alone?
I mean, that was definitely a turning point in the game. I mean, I think we're fighting back. We've got good pressure. Puck ended up in the corner, and we had two players that didn't take a stride to come back. And obviously, Jans didn't play that 2-on-1 the way he's supposed to. He's supposed to have that pass, and ended up in the back of our net and made the comeback even harder.
Did you feel any letdown from your team when Lundqvist didn't come out for the second?
No, I thought we came out well in the first. Had a couple penalties to kill. We did a good job. We got a little bit unlucky there on their first goal, but battled hard in the second, and a decision with the puck in the offensive zone led to Crosby getting behind RD and making it 2-0. But there were a few things that I think we can build on. But I do know that we've got quite a few guys that need to play better than they did tonight.
Feel Like a Girl Radio with Alyssa Paolicelli and KaraAnne and Galante is back. We're here with you for another half hour. You just heard the comments from Rangers head coach Elaine Vignault after their Game 1 playoff loss last night, 5-2, to the Pittsburgh Penguins after an atrocious last minute of each period / second half of the third period.
I'm aggravated.
I was so pissed last. I'm trying to not curse right now because I was so mad.
We can't.
But oh my God!
What should
let's start off with the first period.
Can
we just talk? I
have a question. Who's the Penguins goalie? Who is this Zadkov human being? Who he hasn't played since February, and he comes out looking like Patrick Roy.
Okay,
what is going on
here? He doesn't come out looking like Patrick Roy. The Rangers make him look like Patrick Roy because they only put. They actually at the end of the game, I think there was close to 40 shots on goal. However, the Penguins blocked so many freaking shots.
Guess who's the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Alyssa?
Mike Sullivan.
And guess where is he from again? He was assistant coach with John Tortorella.
The Tortorella
for the New York Rangers. That era with the blocking shots. But blocking shots, it does work. Sometimes you got to give up the body, even though it might
There's a lot of injury that goes like
as
that.
As a result.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to do it.
But let's just talk about the Rangers all season long have played 19 minutes of hockey every period. And then that last minute, they just,
oh my goodness. Know. But you know what? They came out blazing last night. They were shooting the puck. They were taking advantage of Zadkov. And then after the first period, and after in that last minute, we just...
48 seconds.
Oh my God. 48 seconds just turned the whole game around. And you know why those 48 seconds turned the whole game around? Because Mark Stoll had to injure Henrik Lundqvist.
So last year,
Yes.
Lundqvist got hurt again from McDonough with the stick.
Yeah, with
lifting
the neck.
his helmet, and the puck ended up hitting in the neck.
But that was during the season.
But this is just like terrible luck because
this whole game was so fluky.
The preciseness that you have to have, because that like I don't even know what
the mask
opening for the eye part is so small,
and
the comparison to how wide the bottom of the stick is, it's
you gotta time that perfectly if you really want to hit the eye.
It has to be angled perfectly. It's just very odd. But my biggest thing was when he went down. First of all, I thought the guy's eye was going to be on the ice. I thought there was going to be an eyeball rolling around.
Oh my god!
I thought there was going to be blood. But thank God he's okay. Number one.
No, he's okay. I think
best
he
case
could
scenario.
See.
No, he couldn't see because he went back in and the puck gets wrapped around the net and this guy's looking up and I'm like, this guy Henrik Lundqvist cannot see the puck.
I don't know
why the hell is he back in net?
Henrik, missing 40 seconds of a game is no big deal. That's it. After that, we would have 15-minute break and then you come back on the ice. We don't. Oh my goodness! And that results in a goal because he couldn't see.
And
the
everybody
puck.
knows in hockey, you never want to go out of the period. A late goal in hockey is the
that
worst
just brings
way
the momentum.
to go out of a period.
Yeah, it brings the momentum to the other team. And what's frustrating is Daniel Girardi. I used your full first name, okay? Now, because I'm very mad at you right now. You never assume icing. You never assume what the linesman is going to do or blow a whistle. You show hustle 100%, okay?
And a lot of penalties, the Rangers, I guess.
Oh my God. Did you notice that Victor Stahlberg penalty? Because where was the hooking and where was that, what is it, the roughing penalty? Or
that was in the first period.
Those two penalties. I didn't see anything. That was a clean hit, number one. Number two, I didn't see anything.
Even Sam and Joe didn't know what was going on. They're like, well, we're not really sure who's getting
I'm not going
the call
on.
here.
Even the refs didn't know who's getting the call.
Yeah, it took a while to sort it out.
Yeah, let's call him in the head penalty on Stahlberg. That was a clean hit. He wasn't going after the head. It hit his shoulder, and it was coming up. There was an intention.
And Girardi should have actually gotten, in the first period, there was, Lundqvist got snowed on a little bit.
Yeah, by Fair.
Yeah. And Girardi came from behind and cross-checked him from behind. And, that should have been a penalty in itself. But, I mean, I think Fair got the penalty anyway because of unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, and that happens as a result of what he did. So
right, but at the same time, like, Dan Girardi, what are you doing, man? Like, don't be taking those stupid penalties.
That's the problem with the Rangers. We always take stupid penalties. We're always on the PK, and that wastes our time offensively to score goals. And our window of opportunity isn't that big to win the Stanley Cup. We're all getting older, and I feel like this is now or never. And if we're gonna play with our heads up, our you-know-whats, we're not gonna pass the first round of the playoffs, unfortunately.
I just don't understand. Because I think if you don't put Lundqvist in and then you don't score that goal with 48 seconds left, this game has a completely different narrative.
No, it does.
Completely different narrative. You don't have Ronta coming in with the pressure on his back to keep the score 1-0. You know what I mean? Like you come in the second period with a new game, pretty much.
No,
new goalie, score tied at 0, new game.
Clean slate.
But
yeah,
I just don't understand. This is equivalent to Matt Harvey going out in the 9th inning of Game 5 of the World Series. Like, the players do not make the decisions.
I know.
The coach makes decisions.
But it's Henrik Lundqvist.
I don't care who it is. If you can't see out of one of your eyes, you should not be going in the net.
But, okay, I literally trust Lundqvist with the Stanley Cup playoffs. I trust him every single game.
Not because he has one eye, Kara.
Yeah,
but his eye was almost scooped out of his socket with the stick.
If the player's telling you, Coach, I'm good, Coach, I'm good, Coach. We know how Lundqvist is. He always has to be the savior all the time.
Squirming on the ice, and they were putting eye drops in. I am like the queen of eye injury.
I know. Alyssa knows. I have no experience.
I can't even imagine the kind of pain that was.
I don't know. And
because even if, like, think about when you poke your eye.
Oh,
think about poking your eye. That is like the worst feeling, right?
Yeah.
You poke your eye. You're not okay. How many minutes? That was like what? 5 minutes, 6 minutes in between him going back out.
And the fans have to calm down.
You still have to adjust. Your eye still has to adjust.
It does.
And now you're under lights. You have the glare from. I don't even understand how people see on ice.
You know what gets me frustrated?
The glare and everything is terrible.
But the Rangers couldn't back Lundqvist up in that situation defensively. Where are you?
Well, right. But that is one thing that if Ronta does start game 2, the Rangers do historically play better in front of people who aren't Henrik Lundqvist because they feel they need to compensate defensively or overcompensate defensively for not having him in net. Regardless, poor coaching decision by putting Hank back in there. Because regardless if he's fine or not, why not? the 48 seconds left. Why not just get him to the locker room even a minute earlier?
It gives you a little bit extra
time to evaluate him, see what's going on with the eye. No harm, no foul.
I know. Put Ranta in.
But no, you put him in, and the guy's looking up when the puck's behind the net.
Maybe he's like asking God for help.
No, he's probably like, oh my God, I cannot see. Maybe I can watch the game on the replay board.
Maybe I can see what's going on up there. And then when you see, okay, the Rangers and their power play. Let's bring that up a little bit.
Well, we had a 5-on-3 in the third period.
Stepan scores on that.
It was 2-1.
But then we give up it was 2-1 as a result of the goal. And then Struns Crosby scores a goal, makes it 3-1. A shorthanded goal.
And in hockey, the 3-goal lead is the dreaded 3-goal lead.
This is dreaded 3-goal lead, and we have to keep Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh on penalty kills. They are known for their shorthanded goals. I think they finished third in the league this year. With shorthanded goals. And what's up?
The Rangers run more plays off the face-off than any other team in the NHL. I would love to know our percentage of face-off wins yesterday. It has to be...
like 0.
Yeah. It was terrible.
Eric Staal wasn't on point. And Eric Stahl's usually good. He usually registers a point every game.
Eric Staal, does anyone notice how big his helmet is? His head is oddly small.
Like Peyton Manning.
No, but
it's like Eli Manning.
He also
with
looks
the
very like a very mean person. I would not want to cross his path. He looks very angry all the time. But if you look at it, there was a picture. They like went to him on the bench, and then like his helmet is huge compared to like his face. I don't know if his face is really skinny and his helmet's just like a normal size, but his face is so skinny that it looks weird. I don't know.
So for next game,
but now if Henrik Lundqvist doesn't come back, we're down our best 2 players.
Well, we just
for game 2.
called up Magnus Hellberg from
not a good sign.
The Hartford Wolfpack. It's not a good sign, but maybe it's just for precautionary. I'm trying to be optimistic. Alyssa, I know. I was watching the game too. You know how much agita I have right now, even talking about this game. It's up to like 100% right now. I am so aggravated watching this team.
And this is coming off a beautiful article written by Keith Yandel in the Players
Tribune.
that
gave me chills.
Beautiful.
And it's like, Keith Yandel, where were you yesterday?
Okay,
I was looking for him.
Keith, he never shoots the puck. He is like wants to be known for his assist only because he has so many opportunities. He always has a lane. And he doesn't. He just likes to pass the puck. He loves passing the puck.
His shot is so good. He has such a sick shot on the point
Nash
all the
played
time.
Actually very good yesterday, despite his lack of offensive. He played a lot of really good defense last night.
But number one, you need offense to win the game, and we need to score goals. And when you have a goalie like that in net, you got to score goals. You got to put the pressure on him.
That's something. You get that kid. You get him 1 goal in the first period. He's automatically shooken up.
And this is a third-string goalie, Alyssa.
I know.
I know, Kara. Like, what is going on? I don't know what to do anymore with this team. Like, we get this advantage, a slight advantage, and we never take advantage of it. It's always hard for this team. And
it's always the hard way. It's like my life. It's always the hard way.
Always the hard way. And we have our captain, Ryan McDonough, is out. Can we all like rally around and let's do this for MacChuck, and now let's do this for the King. Let's show people that we could win without our top players.
But we couldn't win all season long with the best roster that we have. No. And nobody comes into the playoffs 100%, Karen. Nobody. That's like everybody knows. And when the Stanley Cup playoffs come around, there's always somebody who has a broken arm or a broken leg.
I know
They're still skating. They're still playing every game.
That's why it's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Right.
That's why.
And you just have to. That was, in my opinion, that was a must-win game. You have to, when you have your third-string quarterback, when you have your third-string goalie in, who's never played an NHL playoff game in your life, and you play in the Rangers, who have the Pittsburgh's card for first-round playoff knockouts.
For these past 2 seasons.
For the past 2 seasons, right. And game 1 is huge.
No, it is. It sets the tone. But what the negative thing behind this whole thing is the Rangers don't have home ice advantage, number 1. Okay, so they're already going into Pittsburgh in the Consol Energy Center. They're already there. Number 2.
Which looked really cool yesterday with all the orange. I mean, the yellow.
I didn't like it. You know what's I find it. I hope they don't have the white. They don't hand out white shirts for the next game.
Did you remember
look like
last
asylum
year?
People.
There's that like little kid, buckle up. Their whole slogan was "Buckle up, baby."
Yeah.
Because of their announcer.
Yeah.
But there's like little baby who's like a huge Pittsburgh fan, and he's adorable. Yeah. And like he was crying hysterically. Like I mean, I was obviously happy because the Rangers won, but I felt so bad because he's so cute and he's like. We
can't do. We hope we see that this year. I'm sorry, but no, but what's. The Rangers have to win game 2. I think if we win game 2, we are fine because we're coming back to the Garden. I think game 2 is a must win. Yesterday, Okay, I'll let you slide on that one. All right, Rangers, I'll let you slide on that loss.
I'm not. It was terrible,
If
Kara.
we win game 2, game 1, forgotten. We're done. Okay?
Well, they have to forget game 1 anyway because
it was disgusting. I don't even know what that was. That wasn't. We're in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we're playing like it's the first game of the season. I don't know what we're doing here. We got to wake up, New York Rangers. We got to get this on a roll. We got to sustain Crosby. That's what we got to do. And AV has experience. Even more, I think before he was in the NHL, he went against Crosby when he was in his youth, and Crosby was predicted to be the next Mario Lemieux, and he knew how to sustain him. And you got to use those plays you did when Crosby was in his youth now. Okay? That's all we got to do. We got this. The Rangers have to stop taking these stupid penalties. That is their big, that's their big disadvantage or something. And Tim Peel was on the ice. The ref, Tim Peel, he's obviously against the Rangers 99% of the time. And that's why these, all of a sudden these penalties are coming out of nowhere of left field. I'm like, what's going on
The
here?
vein is coming out in Kara's forehead. If anyone knows Kara, it's out in full force right now.
Oh, my God.
We are, way behind time right now.
I know, but
extremely behind time.
Here we go.
All right, we're talking NFL now. Quick update on what's going on with them since we talked about it a little bit before. Johnny Manziel was on TMZ this week, claimed he was living with Von Miller, and Von Miller was very adamant about making that clear that he was not. He's living with Josh Gordon, the guy who's been suspended for 8 years for marijuana. He can't seem to not smoke weed when he gets drug tested. He keeps on violating drug abuse policy, and apparently came up, I guess, positive in his latest drug test.
Yes.
But that sounds like a really smart idea on behalf of Johnny Manziel.
Oh,
and also coming out of the whole Johnny Manziel saga.
Did you get your ESPN alert yesterday?
I did while we were both prepping for the show. His agent, who was the second one of his offseason, Drew Rosenhaus, said Johnny Manziel needs to get the help he thinks he needs, or he is no longer going to represent him. And yeah, I mean, nothing has really changed with him. He says he's out 5 out of 6 nights on 5 out of 7 nights, 5 to 6 night out of 7 nights on Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, partying up, going to
he
clubs.
said he quote on this TMZ video said, "There is nothing wrong with partying. There's a difference between partying and being out of control." I mean, you're not helping your cause here.
I know you're not.
You're
done. You're done. So I don't even know. And even who's considering him? The Broncos are considering him.
The Broncos, yeah. I mean,
are considering signing him.
Kubiak is also a Texas A&M guy. So. And honestly, the Broncos need somebody. They have no Peyton.
Oh yeah, let's just go
Osweiler.
after Johnny Manziel, and then next we'll sign Greg Hardy. Why not?
Manziel than Fitzpatrick.
All right, Jets fan over here. I want Manziel out of the NFL. He needs to learn.
They're not
going to
get Kaepernick, so.
You know what? We should have a Manziel segment. I feel like we're always talking about him every single week.
He can't stay out of the news.
Because he doesn't know what to be quiet. He has to shut his mouth. Where are your parents? You don't have a bedtime or something?
Where are your parents?
How old are you? 23? I don't know what's going on with you, but he needs to grow up. But we got to do this segment because it's my favorite segment of all time. All right, guys. Drum roll. Our Jackal of the Week goes to Bruce Arians.
And I used to be a big, I'm a big Larry Fitzgerald person. I'm a big Arizona
I know you are.
Cardinals person.
I remember during NFL playoff time, you're like,
I
love
my God,
him.
Larry Fitzgerald, I'm going to raise my boy to be exactly like him. He's the perfect human.
But why is he the Jackhole of the Week since he's Arizona Cardinals
Bruce
head coach?
Arians just cannot seem to not talk about controversial issues and make terrible comments about them. He's spoken about on behalf of domestic violence. He also put his foot in his mouth then. And a couple weeks ago, he quoted that parents are fools for not letting their kids play football. And then recently at this, what was he? He was talking to a high school.
It was this coaching clinic on Friday, and he accuses moms of being at war with football, saying this is our sport and it's being attacked. It's the best game that has ever been bleeping invented, and we have to make sure that moms get the message because that's who's afraid of our game right now. Are you kidding? And he also was previously stated in saying that girls' youth soccer is more dangerous than youth football. I think this guy needs to be checked for CTE. Alyssa,
I need to make this point very clear.
Make it clear.
All of the research that has come out, youth sports as a whole has made, what's the word I'm looking for? Has made changes to their game.
Yeah, they have.
In order to amend and take out the whole more contact. Football is the only sport that has not done so. And that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, that is a big problem.
I mean, I get it's a part of the game. You can't take out certain parts of the game. But I think players under a certain age should have limited type of contact. And the football has just not gotten behind that at all. And
no, they haven't.
And Bruce Arians just, I don't know, like you can't deny research. You cannot deny scientific evidence.
And this is why, this is why football isn't going to progress with people like this. And he tried to clear up this misinterpretation on Twitter, saying, just to be clear about kids playing football, my point is that moms are often the ones making those decisions in a family. We have to make sure that they are getting the message about everything being done to make this game as safe as possible. They're the ones we have to influence. It's a great game, and it's even greater when it's played, coached, and taught the right way. Everybody involved with the sport has responsibility to make that happen. So why is he focusing on moms? You know, dads make the decision too.
Yeah, that's another
That's such
thing.
like a sexist comment too, and even trying to clear up this misinterpretation, you're being even more sexist just focusing on the mothers making this decision and ruining the sport of football. Number one, us as women, we do understand the sport of football, and there's actually girl fans out there. Surprise, Bruce Arians. Whoa, mind blown, right?
It's not even that. It's just offensive to people who, it's not even always the parents who are making the decision. Sometimes it's the kid who wants to play football. Like,
oh yeah.
And I don't know. It was a poor choice of words.
Poor choice. Just focus on your Cardinals.
He just continues to make these weird comments, and he wears these like weird hats I can't stand. But
I told you he needs to be checked for CTE. There's something going on there. But oh Jesus.
Oh my God, Kara's on the board again today, guys. So, opening week come and gone, but we're still going to talk some baseball because how can you not?
Okay.
When the Mets have gotten off to this terrible start.
Okay, can
we just actually stop the start really quick with the latest news that came out yesterday? Hector Oliveira was reported to get in a dispute with at the Ritz-Carlton in Arlington. The woman had called 911. She had bruises and was transported to a local hospital. He was brought to the police department charged with 1-count misdemeanor assault and battery. The MLB released a statement saying, consistent with our joint domestic violence policy, the player has been placed on administrative leave and the commissioner's office has begun an investigation. The Braves also came out with a statement. We are extremely disappointed and troubled to learn of the allegations involving Hector Oliveira. We will continue to gather information and will address this matter appropriately as we determine the facts. Major League Baseball has placed Oliveira on administrative leave, effective immediately. During the period of administrative leave, Oliveira shall be on the restricted list for purposes of the club's reserve list limits. As a result, the Braves have recalled infielder Daniel Castro from AAA, their AAA affiliate.
MLB is on the mark with this one. I think they're doing the right thing. Pertaining to alleged assault and domestic violence, I think they're doing the right thing.
I mean, this is great. They have a policy in place that they've been adhering to, so they're handling it the way they're supposed to.
And they're not looking at the player and what he's done professionally. They're looking at his personal life, and they're not going to take it. And good job by you, MLB. Good job by you. Okay. Okay, let's go to the Mets. We won yesterday. Did you think it was a must-win for the New York Mets? Because Terry Collins is making it seem like...
Yeah. Every game should be a must-win. But I also think that you need to not get into a slump so early in the season. Like, there's no reason why Syndergaard's throwing 14 strikeouts and you're losing. You can't score. You can't put more than 2 runs on the board. That's ridiculous.
At least we got free Subway the next day. If he scores 10 or more strikeouts, you get a free 6-inch sub. Just pointing that out if you guys want to come to a Mets game. But I think we have a 3-5 record now, right?
Steven Matz, Matt Harvey. I don't know what the hell's going on with their arms.
I thought he pitched a pretty decent game.
And Cespedes yesterday?
Okay, let's talk about the dive into the stands.
My mom was very upset about that.
I was very upset, too. I was very upset. That ball, number 1, was uncatchable. Number 2,
my mom's going to be texting me in 2 minutes. I agree with Kara. I know it's coming.
Number 2, let's say this. That's not how you show hustle. We have to give Cespedes the English definition of hustle. Hustling is you run out, you run to first base. You run out. If you ground out, you run fully to first base, or you run after a long fly ball, or you run after a pop-up. You don't run into the stands to show hustle. That's how you get hurt.
And that's how you hurt fans. That guy got taken out.
You know what was funny? I thought the trainers were going after the fan, making sure he was okay. They were on top of Cespedes the whole time. Manej. I don't know. And this team, Cespedes, what are you doing, dude?
I don't know, DeGrom's hurt.
I know, but he's
Harvey. I don't know.
He's in Florida. His wife just gave birth. He has a lat issue that we don't want to discuss because apparently nobody knows what's going on. He skipped. I'm looking this up, and they're like, he has a lat issue. Okay, what does that mean? Give me a definition of what a lat is
going on. That seems to be used a lot recently.
I know it is with the Mets, and Terry Collins is making it seem like there was a World Series game yesterday, putting in Jerry Familia in the 8th inning.
Honestly, it's early, but it's an important win to get because they're in this little bit of a slump. they're playing the Marlins. Like I think it's important to win. They're on tonight. They have off. They're starting their 9-game road trip. They're starting off in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Then they come back just in time for our spring break.
Yeah, we get to
work every day.
I don't know. It's just frustrating with what's going on with the pitching, and offensively, we need to wake up. Curtis Granderson, where are you? Stop doing these commercials for the New York Mets. Let's start
Leave
hitting.
Curtis Granderson alone, all right?
Are you kidding me? He's hitting below 100.
I know, but still. I told you we're not going to get a season like we did last season from him. It's just not going to happen.
He's doing these Sox commercials on City Vision. I'm like, what are we doing? Let's go to the batting cages. You need help swinging. Stop. We don't need you in the limelight. And Travis d'Arnaud needs to wake up. And Wilmer Flores played first base yesterday.
Yeah, he did pretty well though.
I know he did. I was in shock. I didn't even realize he was playing first base.
He just wants to play. And David Wright just cannot make those barehanded throws plays at third base anymore. He's been getting crushed with those this whole season.
He's done. I would just bunt off of him all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's what's gonna happen once people start. He can't do it anymore. It's so sad to see like someone literally degenerating in front of your eyes.
I know, I get it.
Oh, God.
Like, he's my boy. He's been my boy for years, and now we're going to have to come to the realization that his career might be ending soon, but nobody wants to talk about that either. Let's talk about Daniel Murphy.
Why? No.
I know, Alyssa, I know you love him, so let's just talk about how he's doing so well with
my
the
dad
Nationals.
walks in my house yesterday.
Yeah.
Alyssa, the Mets suck, and Daniel Murphy's hitting 500.
in other news. Oh, my goodness. Man. But we'll be fine. I think I'd rather have a rut in the beginning of the season than towards playoff season. Let's get this over. Let's get the kinks out, and let's go into beast mode fully in the middle of the season. I'm good. I'm a happy camper. I'm not stressed out. Yeah, moving on. Moving on to the segment that gives me high blood pressure. Okay. Alyssa, how much of a loss is Schwarber's to the Cubs?
I don't think they have so much depth in their lineup. I really don't think it's a huge loss. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 games you're going to lose because you don't have him in there, but you don't know. You're still going to lose on the potential of what he could have done for this year and the excitement that what he could have done for the team this year, but I don't think it's a huge loss. It's more of a loss for him than anybody else. All right, Kara, Islanders or Panthers tonight? Who you have?
Panthers, next question. Will the Broncos sign Johnny Manziel?
I don't know. I think they might just because they need him more. I think they're waiting to see how his legal issues pan out. And Kubiak, like I said before, a Texas A&M guy, so they tend to stick together. And Kara, is David Blatt the answer for the Knicks?
David Blatt is never the answer. Next question.
That's it. We're done.
We're done. Yes, that was straight to the point. And should we end it? How about any last comments of going into, I don't know, playoffs?
Any last comments would be there's like 3 shows left. If the Rangers don't win on Saturday, the next 3 shows are going to suck because we're going to be miserable. That's it.
And that's Alyssa Paolicelli, ladies.